What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of The Black Experience, y'all. Welcome back to Season 5. This is Season 5 here. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is enjoying their day, their night, whatever time zone, wherever you may be, whatever you may be doing. Thank you for listening/watching this podcast episode. Today, y'all, I have a very, very special guest with me today. Today, I have my first ever DJ. I got a DJ in the house, y'all. He's an Ohio native, and he goes by the stage name DJ Nani. Let's put our hands together, and let's bring up Mr. DJ Nani. How you doing, man?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. How's the weekend? I guess a rainy weekend, right?
Man, look, it was pretty busy because it was like the Halloween weekend, like technically, for the clubs and all that. So
Right.
I had about like 3 different gigs, and it's Halloween or Thanksgiving or Christmas or something like that. Like, usually everybody's out giving you shots.
It's popping.
And,
Oh yeah.
So still recovering a little bit, but it was definitely fun. It was definitely a great time.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
I always like, when it comes to DJs, I always trying to get on their good side. So then if I have a song to queue up, they'd be like, oh yeah, I got you or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But are you just used to the gig just being so busy and just like, 3 gigs is that easy for you now?
Yeah, I would say now it is because I'm kind of used to like having about 2 to 3 gigs every week. Mm-hmm. So it's really, I don't really think about it too much. I'm just like, all right, I got to be here at 9 o'clock, and then at 11, I got to make sure I'm here. Next day, I got to go to this club or this bar, and it's just like clockwork for me.
It's just clockwork.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time, man. I know you had a busy morning, but
man, yeah.
you know what I mean. But man, let's kind of kick it off with talking a little bit about your background. So I said in the intro that you're from Ohio. If you want to talk about a little bit what the journey from Ohio to here in Seattle, Washington, looked like for you, and kind of like how that journey influenced you on personal level as well as on the music level.
Okay, so I'm from Akron, Ohio, same city as LeBron James. So we're breeding talent out there. But so coming to Seattle actually wasn't like my main plan or even something I really thought about. I had a friend that moved here, I want to say in like 2019, 2018-ish. And he would always text the group chat like, hey, anybody want to move out? And he would hit me up, and I would always say no because at the time I was in a relationship. And I was already 6 years deep, so I was like, I'm not just going to up and leave like that. That'd be crazy. And me and her ended up like just going our separate ways. It was amicable. It wasn't like nothing crazy or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I just sat there and I thought about it. I was like, there's really nothing tying me here anymore. I had like $900 to my name, and I just hit the road. I drove 32 hours. So it took me about three and a half days. I drove straight out here, and then just been here ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious, of all places, why Seattle, Washington?
Honestly, I've always wanted to live in a big city because Akron is like, smaller to mid-size. Mm-hmm. And after doing some research, like watching movies like Sleepless in Seattle, I'm like, oh, it looks kind of cool. This city looks beautiful. Like, yeah, like I'm doing that. I'm like, oh, Russell Wilson's over here. He was at one point. And I was like, all right, this would be cool. And, I got a good NFL team. The Browns aren't good. So I was like, it'd be pretty fun to live here, like, experience city life. Mm-hmm. Just like something I just never thought I would be able to do in my lifetime, or just not at this moment. But I feel like it was a great move.
I'm curious, since you're from Akron and that's where LeBron's from, are you on the side that says LeBron is the GOAT? Are you on the team Jordan? I know it's controversial, but I had to bring it up.
You already know I'm team LeBron, bro. 22 years in, still like grabbing like 30 points a game is crazy. Like at this point, I feel like it's undeniable.
You think so?
Yeah, it has to be.
He's my number 2 behind
crazy.
Jordan.
That's crazy.
The longevity part, no one's catching him. That is like respect to him. But I think and we don't have to go too deep into this, but I think the way I kind of see the GOAT debate is like who had the highest peak. Like, who's their best at their best? And for me, it's always kind of going to be Jordan just because he three-peated twice. Yeah. He may not have had the longevity, nowhere near as LeBron. I don't think anyone's had. Yeah. But LeBron, which is why I have him as number 2 because of especially 2016, man. I was rooting for the Cavs, bro.
3-1 was crazy. That was a crazy comeback.
Bro, him and Kyrie, game 5, 6, 7. Kyrie with the shot, the block.
But also on the flip side, 2016 kind of haunts me because I don't know if you remember, but the Cleveland Indians were the Guardians now. Uh-huh. They went to the World Series and they were up 3-1.
And they lost.
Lost. They it was to the Houston Astros. Let them come back.
Man.
And I was like, bro, like, what's going on? Like, what do y'all got going on over there? Y'all didn't win one more game, bro. Just one more game.
I feel like you see, I'm not even. First of all, I'm not a big baseball fan, but at the same time, I feel like that's overshadowed just because the Cavs were down 3-1 and then they overcome. So they kind of gave him like a little cover, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never gonna forget. It still hurts, bro.
Yeah, it's still gonna be in your heart. Hey, man, as you should, man, because you're from Ohio. But yeah, man. So, so you come here to Seattle because you've always wanted to live in a big city. Kind of describe it like a little bit. First of all, what got you into music specifically, and then what was like the music culture differences that you noticed in Ohio and then in Seattle and that change.
So, funny enough, I really didn't want to be a DJ. I just always liked music. I always had like remember MP3 players? You had to put the battery in the back. Like I always had like one of those in my pocket, like just off in my own world. And I remember leaving I was in the military. I forgot to tell you that, but I remember leaving for boot camp, and I would always just be like singing songs verbatim because like it was boring. We have nothing to do. So a lot of my squad mates would be like, "Oh, like DJ Ivory, that's my last name." They're like, "DJ Ivory, like give us a song, man, like rap something for us." I'm like, "All right, cool, I got you." And after boot camp, I actually kind of just started thinking about it. I was like, "Oh, like being a DJ doesn't sound like too bad," but I still didn't like think of myself as like taking it serious. So I bought like a little controller. Started practicing every single day. I got like addicted to it, and it kind of just turned into my life. Like it just started out just being in my bedroom, then doing house parties, and then getting my first invite to play an actual venue. And from there, it's just been like, I don't know, it's been a ball. It's been fun.
Yeah.
But I would say like the biggest music difference between like Akron, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, and Seattle, the hip hop there is completely different. Like
How so?
We're playing more like Atlanta type music, New York type stuff, a little bit, I would say, harder than most places here in Seattle, because there are places here that play actual rap. Shout out to Ohm Nightclub and Supernova. But for the most part, as you would know, like it's pretty cookie cutter. We're still playing Fetty Wap 679 or something like that and getting the biggest reaction. But back in Ohio, it's like Moneybagg Yo, like Sada Baby, V's, like it's just harder music. So the transition from switching my hip hop bag up was a little challenging at first, because I'm just like, bro, this song is super huge where I'm from. Like, you can go anywhere on the East Coast, this song is big, and I'll play it here, and there's like no reaction. And then I'll go and drop like something from like 2010, Clubs Upside Down. So I had to learn how to like cater to the crowd that I'm playing to now, and not just like take what I want to hear or what's previously good.
Right.
So that challenge was, it took me a while, actually. It took me about a year to like just switch up that whole bag.
Yeah. Yeah. So was it hard? Like, what about just like you personally, like when you're not DJing, when you're just like in the car driving, or when you're just vibing, walking down the street yourself? Like, did moving to Seattle change the music you listen to on a day-to-day basis?
Not really, because the music I listen to is music I don't even play at the club, because I'm more like an R&B type guy. Like, I love Giveon and Brent, like finding random stuff. I've been listening to like Jungle and D&B a lot, so it's like a lot of things that I'll listen to on my own time. If I was to drop that in the club, the reaction would be like, bro, what
is going on?
Like,
Meanwhile, you're the only one like vibing on the booth. I'm the same way, man, because and I've said this on past podcasts, but when I'm hanging out with my group of friends, you know, they all typically sometimes tend to listen to a similar type of music, usually R&B or hip hop.
Yeah.
But I have my own genres that I listen to, and they like to categorize it as, you know, Irmo's weird music or white music or whatever, something like that. But I'm like, hey, this is what I vibe with.
Good. Like it's a vibe, just vibe.
And that's what matters, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
For sure, man.
So was there like a moment ever, like I guess when you think back to you doing your DJ stuff and you had 3 gigs this past weekend, crazy. Was there like a specific moment on stage that left you a lasting impression on how you kind of saw like music impacting people? Was it like a specific song there, or you're like, shoot, this moment was like transformative for me for some reason?
I would say, like I told you before, I was in the military, so I got stationed down in Georgia. And when I got my first residency at a bar, because like they didn't really have clubs in the city I was at, it was like super small, but it was just like the day that like I was packing it out for like when I'm there, because I noticed other nights it wouldn't be as busy. And just like dropping a song and just hearing everybody go, hey, or like come up to the booth, like shake my hand, like, bro, like that was great. That was a great transition. Or like, you're killing this. Song selection is going crazy. It's like the high of being able to like bring somebody enjoyment from something that I just purely like to do anyway. Like, nothing beats that, to be honest. It's just like, I don't know. It's like smoking for the first time and you actually get a good high. You're like, holy shit. You know, like this is, it's kind of dope. Like, kind of, I might want to do this again. But like, yeah, that was definitely a turning point for me. That took me from like, okay, it's just a little hobby. You know, I'm somebody's gonna pay me a little $200 to come here, and I might be done with this in a year. And that turned it from, okay, let me see how far I can take this.
I'm assuming you probably have some role models or some people that you look up to. You're like, oh, he's a DJ legend. Like I got a poster of him, or I like the way he was doing his DJ stuff at his booth was the way I want to kind of cater to mine.
Yeah, so I had a guy that was at my base too, DJ Elios. He's now in Hawaii rocking out. Like, shout out to him. I would like go and watch him at the club that I ended up working at, because he ended up moving away. And I would just watch him DJ, and I'm like, bro, like this is crazy. Like I've never seen somebody like scratch like this, or like put these two songs together like this. Like, how are you thinking about this? So I would go home and practice, and we'd be like, all right, like I know Elios, he likes to get funky with it. He likes to like drop this song and then like a rock song together. And you're like, bro, how did you even think about that? So it made my creativity go up. And at the same time, I was watching Miles Medina. And if you don't know who he is, man, like he is insane. Like a literal legend, has won so many competitions. It's like you can't even really like emulate his style. But what you can do is probably just take some pointers here and there, like, you know, how to control the tempo of the night, you know, speed it up, slow it down when you need to. Drop in an acapella that's like just crazy, like some Otis Redding or something like that, and just like drop something else over top of that. It's like just how to just bring more to the set, bring more flavor to the set. So I would say those are like my top two people that I was like really styling myself after a little bit. And Jazzy Jeff, of course.
Jazzy Jeff, man.
Of course.
Were you a fan of The Fresh Prince?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was a DJ until I started DJing, bro. I just thought his name was Jazzy Jeff, and I'm like, that's
I
cool.
know. I literally thought it was like a show name. I didn't think it was an actual like DJ on the side.
I guess we were too young for that when Will Smith and him were rapping.
Yeah, we were too young with that. Yeah, that show came and ended before I was born. So I would have to say probably Summertime.
Yeah,
Summertime is
classic.
probably a classic.
Classic.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. I'm like, do you feel like, this is kind of like a little fun question that I'm throwing in here right now, but like if you were, let's say if you were a DJ, if you were doing this, but like in the 90s, or the early 2000s, or dare I say maybe even the 80s, late 80s or something like that, do you think like how would you think that what would DJ Nani look like in those decades, if you had to guess?
I would say like, you know, DJing started back in the 70s with them taking two of the same records and like, you know, keep replaying the same breaks. In the 80s, battle style came, and 80s and 90s was heavy battle style. I think I probably would have been a battle DJ, to be honest, because that was the hottest thing. You know, like everybody was like, oh, I want to learn how to scratch. I want to be like Cool Herc and all of them. Like, I probably would have been the same way. Like, oh, like, let's get in the lab. Like, let's cut it up real quick. Have you ever seen Juice?
I've never seen Juice.
So there's a character, DJ GQ. The whole movie, all he's doing is practicing for this battle. Like, that's all you see him ever doing. I feel like that would have been me. I would just been so obsessed.
Yeah. So you said you would be doing battle DJ. Is battle DJ, I'm thinking of, is it like one DJ versus another and they're battling it out?
Yeah, it's usually like a format like that, or it's like a Red Bull 3 style where you go and like, you know, do your set and people vote on like how good it was based on your technicals, like your song selection, your scratching, how well you can juggle the songs back and forth, and like creativity for sure, but it's more technical skill based. Like they want to see how nasty you can get with this. So I would have definitely been probably like addicted to that, because everybody that wins those competitions, like they're all like older DJs now. So they're like in their 40s, stuff like that, still winning.
Yeah.
So I think like the craft back then was probably like a lot tougher. So I really don't know too many people around my age that really can do that style that well. Like there's a few, but not like I was.
Yeah. Well, you said the 70s, so I think it's so cool, because the 70s were only 40 years ago, about 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And you know, there's people that like have seen the DJ,
Evolution.
revolution,
Yeah.
and that have lived through it. And so that's definitely cool. And we got the internet too to relive it.
Yeah. I love going back and watching those old videos. Or just like watching a documentary where like they go to the original, the people that really started it,
Mm-hmm.
and they talk about how they were throwing $2 parties and going to the record store and having somebody distract the clerk so they can steal records and all that. I'm like, that's
insane,
crazy,
man. Yeah,
Like,
but it's like those humble beginnings and memories that just adds to like not just being a DJ, but like in anything.
yeah. And
Like-
that was the beginning of hip hop too.
Yeah,
It's like the DJs would throw the beat on and the MC would come on and like, at first it was just trying to get the party started. Like, MC beat in the place to beat, and like that would just get the crowd rocking. Like,
yeah.
And then it turned into like, oh, now the focus is like the MC. Like shout out to everybody that started this, because like without them, bro, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to talk about this with you, like, or be who I am. So I really do have a lot of love for like the people that started in the 70s and 80s. Like they really paved the way, literally paved the way for all this.
Seriously, man. Seriously,
Yeah.
we always, it's always nice to pay your dues and respect and give your flowers to the people that paved it, because sometimes too, those people, they may not be around us, or they may not be around anymore because they passed on, but their impact can never be underestimated because of the inspiration they give us, and you're like, shoot, if they didn't do it, then maybe this person that I now call my role model would not have done
Wouldn't
it.
even be here either.
And if he was in there, then I probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I'd be
definitely.
doing something else, maybe like a firefighter or something, or doing something different.
Yeah, hey, crazy. I'm actually joining the fire department here.
Are you really?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
So I take my test actually later this month.
How you feeling about that?
I'm nervous, bro. 'Cause I tried last year and I went into it blind.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, all right, this is like a little physical test. It says like you get 10 minutes to do it. It's like I didn't see any push-ups or running on there. So I'm like, oh, this is about to be a breeze, right? Like I get there, they put an 80-pound vest on you, throw you on a Stairmaster at level 3, which is super slow. And you're just like, you got to get through that first before you do anything else. So your legs, you're already breathing hard, your legs already done.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. So I think like this round through, like I am still nervous, but I'm ready. I'm like way more prepared this time.
There we go, man. Wow.
Yes, sir.
And was that just like something that you've always wanted to do, or just like a little side gig that? Well, it's not really a side gig, I guess, being a firefighter, is it?
No, that's a whole career.
It's a whole career.
Yeah. But honestly, no, it wasn't actually anything I ever thought about doing. I have an uncle that was a firefighter, but it never crossed my mind to like, oh, I want to do that. Funny enough, I was it's my ex-girlfriend. She brought it up because her friend was like, hey, like, my boyfriend's doing a tryout for this. You should send him the link. So I like looked into it and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just working like day-to-day jobs, like doing security and stuff like that. Like maybe I do need to change directions and focus on something different. Kind of feel like a lot of things that I do have been just off the whim.
Yeah. Well, kind of with this podcast, that's kind of how my podcast started,
Yeah.
And again, humble beginnings. I started it on my phone, and I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have a freshman from Western Washington, a sophomore, a junior, and a senior, and an alumni. And I'm going to have 5 episodes, and that's going to be it. Now here we are 2 years later. I got DJ Nani in the building, and I'm
man.
just, you just never know, man. But
Yeah.
which is why I always tell, like, my younger siblings and people around me, I'm like, listen, give everything a shot. Like, unless it's, if it's not illegal and if it's not going against your morals, you know what I mean? Like, give it a shot. Try it out. You never know what is, what could happen and stuff. But kind of a little fun question I wanted to, I added in the questions was, if you had to come up with, because there's so many music genres, but if you had to create your own music fusion genre, what kind of elements would you add from like all the, not just the music you DJ to, but also like the music you listen to, and like what would that fusion look like?
I would say I would go with like a mix of like K-Tronada style beats, probably with like hints of Amapiano, because like the groove in the Amapiano beat is just unmatched. Like it makes you want to move no matter what. And then I would probably take house vocals from the UK and soul vocals and put that all together.
Wow.
So I feel like that would be a quite a vibe. I'm not gonna lie.
That sounds like quite a vibe. Is that now? Is this gonna be because there's gonna be people listening that know that you're a DJ that know you and that have seen you DJ.
Yeah.
But is this gonna be something like a future DJ project, something that you might drop on a Halloween party or something?
Oh, I might try it this week. 'Cause, like, it's not really too hard for me to like find a K Tronada track and smash it with a Emmett piano and see how it sounds.
Yeah.
As far as production wise, I'm gonna have to learn how to do it, but I'll definitely try it out. If you guys like it, if you're gonna be here this week, just let me know. Let me know if I should like continue with that or be like, bro, not it, not it.
Hey, but you never know if you don't try, right? So
Yeah, that's a fact.
there we go. But I love I'm a piano. I love them. K Tronada, I've listened to like one or two of their tracks, but not too many of them.
Oh, I just went to his tour like 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah,
Fire, it was great.
Yeah?
Like honestly, it was
you
great.
recommend it?
Yeah, definitely.
I need to go to a concert, man. I've actually never been to like a major pop star concert.
Oh, you gotta go,
Oh.
bro. Like that was actually my first real one. Like, so no, I'm lying. That's my second one. My friend, he plays guitar for Omalay, and he invited me out when they came to Seattle. But this was the first one where like, I'm going to this. I'm getting this ticket. I don't care. Like, I have to be there. Great experience. I do recommend going to a K Tronada show.
Okay, noted. That's definitely gonna be in the future for me. Is there any song or genre that you enjoy that? Because you kind of honestly kind of tapped into this question a bit, but anything that you listen to outside from DJing that people listening to this podcast would be like, what? You listen to that?
It would probably definitely be my jungle and D&B stuff. Because, like, you know, I only dress in streetwear. Like, the stuff I play when I'm DJing is mostly hip-hop and, like, Afro-oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to, like, just drop that or just tell somebody that, they'd be like, bro, I would not have expected that from you at all, like, at all. Because I feel like that's, like, some, you know, some house head stuff. Like, somebody that listens to the house, you would expect them to listen to that subgenre. But somebody like me, you'd probably be like, bro, yeah, all right, that's a crazy pool.
So what is, I'm curious, what is jungle specifically? What kind of music is that like?
So jungle is about tempo range, like about like 128 to 140. And it's just like a lot of drum breaks. D&B is kind of the same. I like jungle a little bit more because they use vocals a little bit more than they do in D&B.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a really smooth vibe. It's not like super crazy where you're like, bro, like, what is this noise? It's like something that you can just put on and just like vibe out to. Like, you know, if you're studying or if you're getting work done, like it works.
Yeah. Okay. Now, are there any artists that you would recommend people to listen to that do jungle in that genre?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm still so new to it that like I just find a lot of tracks randomly on SoundCloud, and it's from like random uploaded accounts. I don't even really know the artist.
So it's just like jungle playlist or something like that.
Yeah, I'll just go listen to that. I actually do need to do more homework, but I really love jungle, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm curious, what are your thoughts about Michael Jackson? Are you a fan?
I am. Freshman year, I remember the MP3 thing. I had one MP3 that was nothing but Michael Jackson. Literally, every song was a Michael Jackson song. I love that man to death. He brought something to the table for music that like we probably will never see again. We probably will never see a person like that again. Probably the closest thing is probably like Drake or Bad Bunny, but even still, like they're not Mike Jack. Like
they're not the king of pop, man.
Yeah.
And there's something about his music because I could see his music, like I could listen to his music walking down the street where I'm just vibing. At the same time, you could legit play Michael Jackson in the club and it still be popping probably.
Yeah.
You play Thriller or something, you could probably
Still
mix
on.
it.
Yeah.
Gosh, and like his music was coming out in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. It's like
timeless, bro. He
it's
was
timeless,
ahead
man.
Of his time, bro.
Yeah,
Really ahead of his time.
Yeah. I was the other day actually. I love watching like reactions to like music videos. So I was watching like a mashup reaction to a bunch of people watching Thriller, the whole like 12 minutes of it, like the whole. It's like a mini movie pretty much, and like the dance they do with the zombies. I'm like, my goodness, bro.
Yeah, bro. The work it took for that was probably insane, and it's even crazy to think that Michael Jackson more than likely choreographed all of that himself.
Yeah.
Like. Yeah. How do you make a masterpiece like that and then go to the like video producer? I'm like, all right, I got this, bro.
I got this too. Yeah, I got the dance, the singing, everything.
He's like, bro, all you gotta do is just start recording. That's all you gotta do.
Just record, and I got it. And it was like perfect too. So I always wonder, I'm like, how many takes did it take him to get that mastery, that perfection of like, okay, everyone's doing this at the same time. You know?
Yeah. You know, he was a perfectionist too, so he probably wasn't even gonna let anything slide that wasn't up to par.
Yeah. And that motivates me, man, in my work. I'm sure that probably motivates you too, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
You don't want to put out a bad product, man. No. For that.
No, not either. Especially on the internet, because it's
there forever.
It's there forever.
Somebody's going to clip it. You might get famous and they'll be like, is this you? You remember this?
No, we don't have to talk about that. Let's move. You know what I mean? um, when it comes to kind of when you balance in crowd favorites music, because at the beginning you were talking about how you were kind of moving to Seattle, you're kind of adjusting to like what the crowd wants, you know, and kind of you get a feel of the crowd, and you're like, okay, this the crowd kind of starting to like this, or the crowd's liking Justin Timberlake versus, you know, I don't know, anyone else, whatever.
Yeah.
How do you balance, you know, crowd favorites versus like personal music choices? Let's say like an hour before you go to the club and before you're set to DJ, that you had like music picked out, but then the crowd is reacting
Completely different.
completely different. Well, how do you balance that?
I mean, honestly, I'll just give them what they want for a while. You know, just play what they want to hear, and I'll try one of my tracks out. If it hits, I'll run with it. I'll be like, all right, I can probably do like 2 or 3 more of these, and then bounce back to what they asked for. Get one more for me. Go right back to what you asked for. I feel like that's a good mix to do it because, you know, everybody's going to be happy at the end of the day. Like, they got to hear what they wanted to hear. I got to hear what I wanted to hear. Because at the end of the day, man, DJing is for more than just me. It's for the entire party. It's for the entire room. So if I go up there being selfish and I'm like, guess what? We listen to Larry June all night in the middle of a club. And they're going to be like, bro, come on. Like, maybe one. Right. Not a bunch of those, but yeah.
Right.
You know, just... You got to think about your customer first. You got to think about your crowd first, the people around you, you know, who you're doing it for. At the end of the day, bro, like, if that's all you want to do, then you didn't have to book yourself to play in front of other people. You could have just did this in your room, you know, did a little stream for yourself in your room. So
I'm curious, man, when it comes to culture and when it comes to, let's say, playing in front of a predominantly black crowd versus, let's say, predominantly Latino crowd or a white crowd or whatever, does that, like, when you first step on and you're like, okay, this is the crowd, so do you make assumptions in your head and you're like, this is a black crowd, so let me play some Afro beats or let me play some hip-hop? Do you make those assumptions too, or are you just like, let me see what they could like and then adjust?
I would say, like, when I'm doing something for, like, a non-black crowd, like, I try not to generalize, but also, too, is like, okay, like, there's a high chance that you might like this song.
You're right.
So I'll just drop it. Like, if I'm with, like, hanging out with some of my, like, my Latino friends or something like that, they listen to rap, but I also, too, know that they listen to reggaeton. So I'm going to drop some reggaeton and some rap at the same time, you know, like, mix that together because I know that they'll like it. If I have, like, a predominantly, like, white crowd or something like that, if I'm, like, down in Capitol Hill, I know that they like rap, but sometimes it might not be, like, the most, like, current, like, artists or music, but, like, I know I can still get some things off. Like, I know I can drop, like, City Girls in there. I can play Drake. I can play Lil Baby. So I'm going to, like, get that off alongside getting off some Charlie XCX. Like, you know, we're going to run it. Like,
Yeah. And music has changed, man, so much. I mean, music is, like, you know, going from, like, you know, Pac and Biggie to now, like, Lil Baby and Gunna, and we got these guys, you know, Young Thug, all these guys. I mean, do you have, like, I'm curious, do you have, like, a favorite music era, music genre specifically, and you're like, man, this is, like, the golden age of music for me? Not just hip-hop, but anything.
I think the 90s and early 2000s gave us, like, some of the best, to be honest. Like, all of those songs are still in rotation, like, pretty much anywhere. Like, I don't know, like, I could still play, like, To the Window, To the Wall. Like, it still goes off. Like, and it's crazy. I could play Poison from the 90s. It'll still go off.
I love Poison.
Like, who does it, bro?
Yeah.
You hear that, dun, 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 like, you're like, oh, yeah, it's about to get crazy. Like, I'm about to start dancing. So, like, I do think the 90s and 2000s gave us, like, some of the best records that we can, like, still kick it to. It was just, like, the feeling, like, the tempo, like, most songs were, like, between 90 to, like, 100 BPM, so it was, like, very danceable. And, like, they were putting in effort to make it danceable. Like, even if it was, like, a gangster rapper, like, he would have at least 1 or 2 songs that, like, you played in the club. Like, you know, I'm trying to think of somebody. We could think of, like, Mystical or somebody like that. Like, you're listening to a typical Mystical track, he's just, like, just going off, but then, like, he'll just have, like, this one track where you're like, oh, damn, like, this is a classic.
What differentiates a song from being a club song versus a song that you would just listen to when you're walking down the street?
Honestly, I'd say that's pretty hard because, like, you know, you could, like, argue that Stay Fly at one point was just like a song that you vibe to with your friends, but then like you dropped out in the club, like people were like, I gotta stay fly. I like it. Something could go from like just a regular track that I'm just listening to and then just blow up. Because I remember when Sad Girls Love Money came out, and at first it was just real chill. People were like, just play this at the kickbacks and stuff like that. And then that transitioned to like being played at the actual club, and like you just gotta sit there and think. You're like, bro, like how did this like very chill ambient track just become like this big club hit?
Right.
So I think it is kind of hard to differentiate, bro.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I guess it seems like it's like what the customer wants. I guess at the end, right?
Yeah, you'd be surprised what you'll drop and what will work. Like,
because Party in the USA, man. Well, I'm not personally a fan favorite of that song, and I know some people are gonna be like, "Are you crazy?" But I've heard it play in the club many times, and it's a hit.
Still goes.
Yeah,
Still goes.
yeah. So
I played it last weekend. Man.
Did you really?
I'm not gonna lie to you.
People love it, man. People, not my thing, but hey, if the crowd loves it, then gotta do what's right for the customers, right?
Yeah,
but
that's true.
Man, one more question before we get to the deep end part of the podcast. But do you feel nervous when you get up on stage?
I would say if it's like a spot that I always play at, I'm really not nervous because like I feel like I know the crowd well enough, and I know what they're expecting of me and what they want to hear. But when it's like a new spot, yeah, I get really nervous. I remember when I started DJing at Vice, like my first night, my set was horrible, bro. Like trash, kicked off the decks type stuff. But it was just because it was like this really beautiful club, really nice, state of the art, and like they were already getting like a lot of foot traffic and stuff like that. So I'm like, damn, like I gotta like come with it. And like they're on Fridays they do like EDM, and the EDM stuff is sold out every time. And like they were starting up the hip hop stuff on Saturday. So I'm like, I want to be able to compete with the Friday night too. Like bring my best and make sure like both nights are like even. Didn't happen the first time, bro. I was just too in my head. Like I'll play a track and just like scramble, like, okay, the next one has to be a heater. The next 5 songs have to be absolute heat. Instead of just having fun and connecting with the crowd. Got lost in the sauce. Yeah.
And how do you deal with those nerves? Like when let's say you're at a new event and you got like thousands of people or something like that, or hundreds or thousands of people. I mean, how do you deal with those nerves? Do you just persist? What, any motivation?
I'll usually just keep going because it's kind of like, after you get those first couple good transitions out the way, you like start seeing people like start dancing. Like you kind of get more into it. Like you're like, all right, cool. Like, all right, they're liking this vibe. I'm gonna keep going. But there are times where you're playing and the crowd's not moving, and you just start panicking, start playing whatever. Like you're just trying to get it out. But yeah, definitely, it's like you just gotta just stick to it. Like don't over panic. Don't like think that you have to, play the most perfect set. What you have to do is connect with people.
Beautifully said, DJ Nani. Well, we are at the deep end, and this is the deep end of the podcast where we are at a point where I have one more question left, and the question is the advice question. Now, to all, let's say there are aspiring DJs out there that are listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
Aspiring creatives of all kind, not just in the DJ realm. It could be in the podcast realm with me or whatever they're doing. What advice would you give to that group of people, and as they're ready to embark, and maybe there's that fear, there's that nervousness, but any motivation you'd give them?
I got a few things. I would say, don't do it for like the clout, or you see somebody like get a lot of love in this city, and you're like, I kind of want that. That's like the wrong reason, because you will be out of the game as quick as you came in the game, because there's going to be people that do this for passion, and that's what you need. You need passion, because you're going to have to spend hours practicing, spend hours like downloading music, buying equipment, like going out and putting your feet on the road and going to talk to random people so you can up your network. Like, you just want to do that. Do this for the right reason. Do it with passion. Also, too, is like, just know that it takes time to get better at this. Like, you're not going to be a superstar DJ in the first week. So don't give up. Like, keep going. Keep practicing. Like, one day it's going to click. Just keep going. That's all I got.
Beautifully said. DJ Nani, appreciate you hopping on the Black Experience, man. Thank you for that. Before we close out, is there any last-minute plugs you want to do? You could either do your socials or any events, anything that you want to throw out there.
If you guys want to connect to me, you can hit me up on Instagram at justjaylani, Jelani. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
It was outside on my way here. It got me messed up a little bit. But JUSSJELANI on Instagram. Shout out to my sponsors, San Juan Seltzers, too. Thank you guys for always like having my back and like, letting me create for you guys, because that was the first time for me. And Seattle, thank you for like welcoming me, and
206, baby.
thank you for having me.
Oh, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed that awesome episode. As usual, if you guys are able to and can, definitely check out the donation links for my podcast, monthly donations, one-time donations, and click the link down below to get access to all my platforms. And stay tuned as Season 5 rolls on. Until next time, guys. Peace. What is up, y'all? Thank you so much for tuning in to that episode. Make sure to click the subscribe, follow button, as well as the bell to get notified on all my new content that is coming out every Wednesday and every other day. And make sure to click that link in the description down below to get access to all my socials and any other platforms that I have my podcast on. And until next time, y'all, peace.